So, welcome, long time no see. I've been thinking recently about this concept of life. Like, what is life again? I feel like everybody's probably stumbled upon this question. What is life? Why am I here? And I feel like I always stumble upon this question every few months. I just like to revisit, see how my definitions change every few months. And I think this time I might settle on something that I might believe in the long term. I don't want to hold myself to that. I might change in a few months. We'll see. But what I've settled on is a little more vague, but I think it helps describe what life really is. And I think everything that I believe is now encapsulated in life is meant to be lived. And what that means is nothing. Like, quite literally, like, that means nothing. Because to you, living life might mean something completely different than compared to what that means to me, right? Living life to me, like a fun life to me, is hey, I get to spend evenings with people that I love. I get to spend mornings working hard on something that I love. I get to spend every day at 2 or 3 o'clock going to the gym and working out. And I like to shower every day, right? I love my mouthwash because every time I brush my teeth and I use my mouthwash, it makes my teeth feel really good. And my breath smells good. And I like these drinks, not sponsored, amazing drinks, right? Like, I'm specific. That's how I like to live my life. But for you, it might be something completely different. And you might be like, obviously, like, this is obvious common sense. But the thing is, like, the reason I say this is because some people might hit us with something like, oh, just be happy. Like, what does that mean? What is happy? And I don't really like the concept of happiness, because there's like fleeting happiness, there's long-term happiness, but some people really like one over the other, right? I'm not going to give a bad or good to it, right? Fleeting is just like short-term dopamine. Long-term is a little, I guess you can say, serotonin, long-term dopamine, right? So the happiness argument doesn't really do it for me. So that's why I settled on life is meant to be lived, right? I like to work a lot. If you don't, great. You know, go travel to the Bahamas or go to Thailand. It doesn't matter to me. You want to live life the way you want to live? Whatever. As long as it doesn't hurt me, as long as you don't hurt my family, do your thing, man. Whatever. And so that's kind of how I've been approaching life a little more. And what that also means is being less harsh on myself, even though I like to be harsh on myself. I always have these visions of, like, I want to achieve really big things, and I still do. And that's how I want to live my life. And whenever I try to do something that I like slightly enjoy, like, oh my God, I'm going to go spend time with my friends, I'm going to go spend time with this person, then what ends up happening is I regret it, because I'm like, oh, I could have spent this time being a little more, or going a little closer to my goals. And I think for any goal striving person, which everyone's a goal striving person, by the way, you may think, oh, I have no goals. You have goals. You just haven't actualized them. You haven't written them down. So for every goal striving person, which is everyone, the minute you feel like you're not really going towards your goals is the minute you're like, you feel terrible, because you're like, I could be doing something else in this moment, but I'm not. And I've just kind of been trying to shift away from that, where I want every moment to be whole in and of itself. And you learn this concept from Buddhism. It's a very big thing there, where you want to live in the now, right? There is no past and there is no future. There never was. It never existed, right? You might be like, but the past did exist. Well, not in any tangible way that we can access now. There's no way we can go back and prove something happened. Sure, you can be like, there's every physical atomized evidence that this happened, but consciously, from your perspective, as you lived, you were not able to see what happened in the past. So the past really doesn't matter. The future, no one has ever predicted in any way that is concrete, right? So all that we really have is the now. That's it. You might argue, okay, but the past does matter. for some things. Okay, sure. You know, if you want to get into a relationship with someone, past does matter. If you want to build something with someone, your past does matter, right? If you want to be a friend with someone, you probably don't want to be friends with someone who's committed 14 felonies, obviously, right? But I mean in a way of, in a day-to-day, like, life basis, right? Like, I'd be going outside, and when I go outside, I'm thinking of what it'll be like when I get back inside. Like, oh, I'm gonna go for this walk, and then I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna do... Like, at this point, what I've ended up doing is I spent a few weeks, actually, as a self-experiment. I used to have, like, a pretty rigid, structured schedule. I spent a few weeks doing the complete opposite. I messed up my schedule. I didn't look at it. I just left it on the side. I'm like, I'm not even gonna touch this. And I'm just gonna do, like, whatever. And for the first week, like, it ended up terrible. I just spent a lot of time on YouTube, which is not good. But then what started happening, like, a week or two after, because I wanted to give it some time, right? So I did it for a month. So what happened, like, the first week, I just, like binged YouTube. But after that first, I literally got bored of YouTube. I was just tired. Like, I couldn't watch anymore. I'm like, I've watched all the YouTube I can. I watched every single type of funny content I can. I'm tired. Like, I don't like this. And so what started slowly happening is I started reverting back to work. I'm just gonna work. I'm gonna start working a little more. And then I work, and I get bored. Let me go read a book. So I only did stuff that I liked. And what ended up happening is I ended up being happier, and I started getting more done than I did on my schedule because, firstly, I worked on something that I liked, right? Living the life the way I want to live it. And then two, I did stuff that was fun to me. Because eventually everyone gets bored of everything, right? Like, if you were forced to watch TikTok for 12 hours, or YouTube, or whatever you watch, I'm assuming you watch more YouTube if you're on here, then at some point within that 12 hours, you're gonna get bored. Like, one of your desires will outweigh the other because you've already, like, watched too much TikTok. Your eyes just hurt, your brain hurts. You're like, let me go do this other thing. And so you go do the other thing. And so that's what happened to me. And then YouTube, I literally, like, slowed down on YouTube, literally 90%. And all that energy went back into working. Why? Because I like to work. So then I started staying up later. I used to sleep at like 10 o'clock. But I'm like, okay, let me work until I want to stop. And then I started working until 11, until 12, until 1. You might be like, that is terrible for your sleep. It doesn't matter. I still got my 9 hours, right? Like, people talk about, oh my God, you need, like, this rigid schedule. As long as you can sleep within, like, a 1 hour window, like, if you can sleep between 1 and 2 and you still get 9 hours, sleep is sleep. Of course, I'm pretty privileged to be able to say that. I can sleep whenever I want. But I still keep it a schedule. And so the concept here is just, like, because I started embracing that time meant more to me, that's when I started actually having fun, actually enjoying what I'm doing. And it made me more confident in everything that I did do because I actually wanted to be there. So there's so many downsides to having a schedule, I think. Some upsides outweigh the downsides. Like, if you are a terrible person, you should probably have a schedule. But to me, it ended up being more detrimental because I started doing stuff when I didn't want to. And that was annoying. That's why it's really important, as people say, to pick what you actually like doing. Because if you don't pick what you like doing, then you will automatically revert to what the world has given to most humans that biology has deemed as like doing. In this case, the hijacking of your limbic system, of your dopamine system, and taking full control of that. There are tasks out there that you might really, really love, that you could dive deep into, that you could become the best at, that are worth way more than TikTok or way more than YouTube Shorts. Like, magnitudes more. And you'd really want to do it over TikTok. It's true. Just today, actually, because I'm at home, it's Christmas. And I spent a lot of my morning just, I was looking into this thing. It was this book. It's called There Is No Antimemetics Division. And it was this whole thing on something called, like, the SCP. It's pretty much like a some kind of like fan fiction, secure, contain, protect. It's like a really cool thing. And I looked into it and it just went down like rabbit holes. I'm like, No Anti-Memetics Division. Oh, they have a series on YouTube too. I watched the series. So amazing. It's genius level thinking. And so I'm like, wow, that was great. What else do these guys have? And so I started just browsing for short films, right? Other things in the SCP. This is like a whole like niche. I didn't even know about it. It's super cool, right? Just to learn a little fun thing. And now I have a great book that I've read, that I know about, that I can suggest to other people. And it's given me a completely different perspective on just the way I view things. By the way, there was no Anti-Memetics Division. Just so you know. Inside joke if you do read the book. It's an amazing book. But yeah, like life is just meant to be lived. And if you aren't living it on your own terms, you're living it on someone else's terms. And you're helping them get their terms up. And so you can choose. You can really choose how you want to live. You may think that you are not in a spot to, maybe financially, maybe mentally, maybe physically, to do something. But I guarantee you, there's something called agency. Agency is pretty much your ability to believe how much control you have on everything in your environment. So high agency people they think like, oh, I have control over everything. Low agency people think I have control over nothing. So these are pretty much like extremely religious people versus extremely atheist people. Where atheist people think I control everything. Religious people say I leave it all up to God. Good or bad, doesn't matter. High agency is usually much better in terms of getting stuff done, right? So assume high agency, which means you think and you truly deeply believe that you can control everything in your life. Like, I deeply believe that I can hit 250,000 per month by the end of this year, 2025. Deep belief. And because I have that deep belief, now I'm going to act in every way to make that belief come true. And so that's how you want to see life, which is just high agency, very high agency. You have control over everything. And even if that may not be true, even if you are smart enough to know that some things are quite literally out of your control, because they are, many things are out of your control, there's no harm in having the belief. That is a completely separate video, super fun video I can make on beliefs that are great for you but actually harm you if you believe the other thing. But pretty much assume high agency and say, I have control of my life. No matter what financial situation you're in, no matter what kind of household you're in, you will find a way out. You just need to work on doing just that. What are solutions? What are ways out? And I guarantee you, if you start living life on your own terms, maybe it's not the life that you wanted, but it is the life that you desired. And you'll be way more happier and way more free because you're doing what you want. So go find something and go get obsessed. Very easy concept, hard to apply, but just try it. Okay.